My name is Elara Thorne. For 25 years, my parents called me the artist, and in my family that was an insult. I grew up in a house of stone-cold structural engineers where if you couldn't calculate the load-bearing capacity of a steel beam by age 10, you were invisible. My brother Leo was the prodigy, with the MIT degrees. I was the distraction who liked the way light hit a marble floor. They relegated me to the archives, filing the blueprints of buildings they said I wasn't smart enough to design. But on the night of our firm's 50th anniversary gala, an old man in a frayed suit handed me a dusty vellum tube. It contained a secret that would prove my doodles were actually the foundation of our entire $60 million empire and that my father's legacy was built on a lie. The Thornes are architectural royalty. My father, Arthur, is famous for the monolith, a 60-story tower in Chicago. He's a man who views emotions as structural weaknesses. I remember being 12 years old, showing him a sketch of a library designed around a central sunwell. He didn't even look up from his blueprints. He just said, "Elara, focus on your geometry. Pretty pictures don't hold up roofs. You're lucky your brother has enough talent for both of you." That was the theme of my life. Leo got the tutors, the internships at the best firms in London, and the $400 an hour SAT prep. When I asked for an art class, my mother, Lydia, just sighed. "Elara, we have to be realistic. Some people are born to build the world, and some are born to just live in it. You'll always have a place in the filing room." I believed her. I spent my 20s in the basement of Thorne and Associates, breathing in dust and ink, while Leo's face was on the cover of magazines. But there was one person who saw me, my grandfather Silas. He was the one who actually started the firm back in the 70s. Every Sunday, while my parents were at the country club, I'd go to his workshop. He didn't teach me math first. He taught me to watch the way shadows moved across a room. He'd say, "Elara, your father builds skeletons, but you design souls. A building without a soul is just a pile of expensive rocks." He'd have me fix his old sketches. I didn't realize it then, but he was testing me. He'd leave a flaw in a hallway that was too dark or a window that blocked a view and wait for me to find it. I always did. Right before he passed away, he gave me a small brass key. "Keep this," he whispered. "When the building starts to crumble from the inside, you'll know which door it opens." I thought he was talking about his old shed. I was wrong. Fast forward to the 50th anniversary gala at the Plaza Hotel. 300 of the most powerful developers in the country were there. I was wearing a $50 dress I'd altered myself, tucked away at a table near the kitchen entrance. My father stood at the podium, champagne in hand. "Thorne and Associates has always been about the future," he boomed. "And that future is my son, Leo. Today, I am officially naming him lead architect and transferring 90% of my private shares to him. He is the only one with the Thorne rigor to carry this name." The room erupted. Leo stood up, basking in the spotlight. I sat there, invisible as always, until my mother leaned over. "Don't look so sour, Elara. We've set up a nice trust for you. It's not much, but it'll keep you comfortable while Leo runs the business. We just couldn't risk the firm's reputation on, well, your lack of focus." That was it. I wasn't a daughter. I was a liability to be managed. I walked out of the ballroom, unable to breathe. In the hallway, I ran into Mr. Henderson. He was 80 years old and had been the city's chief archivist for decades. He was holding a protective tube. "Miss Thorne," he said, his voice trembling. "I've been waiting for this night. Silas told me, wait until Arthur proves he's forgotten where the light comes from. Then give this to Elara." I opened the tube in the coat check room. It wasn't just a blueprint. It was an intellectual property deed from 1982. I looked at the sketches for the monolith, the building that made my father famous. At the bottom, in the signature block, was my grandfather's name. But next to it, in the design concept credit, was a name I didn't expect. Elara Margaret Thorne. I realized what it was. My grandfather had used my childhood doodles, the ones I did in his workshop when I was 5 and 6 years old, as the actual structural soul of his greatest buildings. He had patented the Thorne aesthetic in my name. My father had been using my designs for 30 years without realizing they belonged to me. And it now. The next morning, I didn't go to the filing room. I walked into the executive boardroom. My father and Leo were already there, surrounded by lawyers, ready to sign the final transfer papers. Elara, what are you doing? My father snapped. The interns' meeting is on the 4th floor. I laid the 1982 deed on the table. Actually, Dad, the owner's meeting is right here. I watched the color drain from his face as his lead counsel read the document. Grandfather Silas had inserted a lineage clause. The moment Arthur Thorne attempted to disinherit the design owner me, all licensing rights for the firm's top 10 buildings would revoke. This is a $60 million revenue stream, the lawyer whispered. Arthur, if she pulls these rights, the firm has no assets. We're essentially renting these designs from her. My brother Leo looked at the blueprints, then at me. For the first time, he didn't look down. He looked relieved. I never wanted to lead, Elara, he admitted. I just wanted to make Dad happy. I'm an engineer, not a visionary. You're the one who sees the light. I didn't fire my father. That would be too easy. I stayed as the majority shareholder and head of design. My father stayed as a technical consultant. Now, every time he wants to move a wall or change a window, he has to bring his doodles to my office for approval. I learned that some people build with steel and some build with lies, but the strongest structures are built on the truth. I spent 25 years being the slow one, the distracted one. It turns out I was just waiting for the world to catch up to my vision. If you've ever been told your passion is a hobby or your talent is a distraction, remember, the people who can't see your value are usually the ones standing in your shadow. Don't stop sketching. The world needs your light. My family hurt me for decades, but I didn't need to hurt them back to find peace. I just needed to stop waiting for them to see me and start seeing myself. That's the real inheritance my grandfather left me, and nobody can ever take it away.